How's it going out there today, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day. We're coming to you today for some trucker news. So sit back, get your popcorn, maybe a notepad, take some notes. I don't know, however you do this, let's do it. News stories of the day. Want to talk to you about the trucker strike over possible COVID vax. How did that go? And the one in Australia apparently is doing more than the one in America. Story number 2, Shaw Flooring, the 800 power unit private fleet. Is it right for you? They also announced they want to produce more product domestically because they're having trouble getting stuff from overseas. Next story, retention rates. What's up with those things, you know? Number 4, Landstar. Q3 already better than expected. They raised guidance for Q3. Used truck prices persist as Class 8 production lags. That's right. And trailer orders tank in July as manufacturers struggle to find workers. And there's your stories. Let's get to it. Okay, our first story today is about the trucker strike. This is about the trucker strike in Australia. It says, well, the U.S. truckers' anti-vax shutdown looked like the Australian version. This story is from August 31st. I don't know how the strike went. I didn't hear anything about it, honestly, so obviously it wasn't that big of a deal. I don't know anyone personally that was shutting down. It says Tuesday was set to be the day American truckers were to park their trucks to protest possible vaccine mandates on the horizon, but it remains to be seen whether their actions will be as headline-grabbing as the Australia drivers. On August 29th, a group of Australian truck managed to shut down M1 on the Gold Coast for about an hour to protest employer-mandated vaccines. I am not a fan of shutting down freeways. You know, it ought to be illegal, or you ought to be arrested for it because it is illegal. You know, just like when people walk onto the freeway and protest, that's wrong. Just like driving a truck on the freeway at 2 miles an hour is wrong. It's not the correct way to get attention. I'm just saying, that's my opinion. Says the truckers draped a banner reading, "Truckies keep Australia moving, not politicians." I do agree with that. Across the front of their trucks and caused major traffic disruptions on the highway. See, I'm not a fan of that because you're messing with people's day, you know. I get it. You're not happy about it, but it's not the way to go about it. You know, there could be people in an ambulance behind you. There could be fire trucks that need to use that freeway to get to a fire. Think of that stuff, you know. Do you think your little protest is more important than, you know, someone dying on the way to the hospital because you're doing 20 miles an hour down the freeway? Stop being selfish. The protest activity was joined by a group of non-trucking industry protesters angered by the COVID-19 shutdown, bringing the estimated number of demonstrators up to 100, according to local news outlets. Police eventually broke up the blockade and forced the trucks off the M1. As well they shouldn't have been out there in the first place, in my opinion. It's just not the way to get, it's not the way to get what you want. You know, it's like a 2-year-old laying in the floor at the store kicking and screaming because he ain't had a ball. You know, you're grown adults. You know, you don't do baby stuff when you're grown adults to get what you want. Apparently these drivers did not learn as kids. Their parents did not teach them you don't lay in the floor and throw a pissy fit and get what you want. You get to go home with not getting what you want. So just keep that in mind. All right. Shaw Flooring, 800 power unit private fleet. What you guys think about private fleets? I like private fleets. If you're one of these guys that want to go in, do like a set amount of work, get good pay, and go home. You know, if you're not the strive to, like, you know, be an owner-operator, be a business owner, I think a private fleet is a great option. Maybe if you've done the owner-operator game for years and you want to just, you know, kind of, like, you know, maybe not work as much, you know, when you're off work, you get to forget about work, you know, that type of mentality. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, maybe instead of going working for an OTR company, you might do a little better at a private fleet. I know a lot of these private fleets, they usually spec nicer trucks. Like Ashley Furniture is a private fleet. They spec really nice trucks. Dot Foods, some of these private fleets. But anyway, Shaw Flooring private fleet, 800 power units. They get the 2021 Shipper of Choice profile from ArcBest. Helped out with this award, presented by FreightWaves in partnership with ArcBest. The Shipper of Choice award recognizes manufacturers, distributors, and retailers who do the best job keeping American economy moving by fighting driver detention, providing accessible facilities, and understanding what it takes to move efficiently from the supply chain. I do appreciate companies that do that, because like here where I'm at right now getting unloaded, we're out here in the heat of the day, and they got a porta-john over there. You can't even go in and use the bathroom in the air conditioning. I'm not a fan of stuff like that, so apparently Shaw Flooring treats them a little better. Anyone with carpet, flooring, synthetic turf, which is mostly everyone, is possibly done business with Shaw Flooring. Founded in 1946 and based in Dalton, Georgia, about 75 miles north of Atlanta. Privately held, Shaw is a $6 billion powerhouse with operations across the world. Is a subsidiary of Berkshire Hathaway. So Warren Buffett owns that. The conglomerate controlled by legendary investor. Yeah, there's your boy. Shaw operates a private fleet of 800 power units, placing it within the top 60 private fleets in North America. More than 60% of those trucks are day cabs that make 10 to 15 deliveries per day to end customers. So there you go. It does go on to say in here they would like to increase their U.S. production, because having problems, with overseas shipping and whatnot. And I salute that. If you're going to sell it here, try to make it here. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're racing to the bottom with everything coming from China. It may be just the way, maybe just the way I'm feeling about it, but that is how I feel about it. Think about Shaw. Apparently it sounds like they're doing some things the correct way. Retention rates. All right, let's talk about retention rates. I'm getting this story from FreightWaves. It says the simple truth on trucking's low retention rates. It says the simple truth is that low retention rates prevalent in the trucking industry are nothing more than a business challenge gone unchecked. Possibly. Being in the trucking industry exaggerates this challenge by being capital intensive and having very few restrictions to enter the industry. Other than courage and money, this margins that are razor thin by most business standards, and you begin to understand how many new companies seem to pop up and flash in the pan. Yeah, I think that is a little part of retention rate problems. There is a very low standard to coming into the industry. You go to school for 3 weeks, you get this notion in your head, you go to school for 3 weeks, a month from the time you got the thought, you're in a big rig trucking. I do see that being one part of retention rates. I'll give them that. Next story here. Landstar says Q3 better than expected so far, and they've raised guidance. Spot broker raises guidance 11% on stronger volumes and rate trends. How you like that? 11%. Freight broker Landstar System raised its third quarter earnings guidance Tuesday after the market closed. The Jacksonville, Florida-based company now expects revenue to be in the range of $1.68 billion to $1.72 billion, in earnings per share in a range of $2.45 to $2.55, 8% and 11% higher than the midpoints of the prior ranges, respectively. The current third quarter consensus earnings per share estimate for Landstar was $2.28 a share. The improved guidance reflects truckload volumes currently trending above the 2021 second quarter in a low single-digit percentage rate, and revenue per load on loads hauled via truck trend above 2021 second quarter in a mid-single-digit percentages. So basically they're saying every freaking quarter it's going up single digits. There you go. So that's what they said in a filing to the Securities and Exchange Commission. Management previously forecasted truck volumes to decline slightly sequentially from the second quarter and truck revenue per load to move slightly higher. The statement was issued prior to management's planned appearance at Deutsche Bank 2021 Transportation Conference on Wednesday. The company's second quarter call with analysts, management said revenue per load during June was the highest ever for any June in the company's history. The June results followed an abnormal surge in yields during May. So everything is popping and locking over there at Landstar, it sounds like. The truckload market continues to burst at the seams. Carriers have rejected more than 1 out of every 5 loads under contract. There you go, 20% of contract freight getting rejected. That's a huge thing in the trucking industry when they start rejecting contracted freight. And the spot market has been unable to fill the void. Sky-high consumer demand and inability of retailers to rebuild inventory positions and lack of drivers have been the primary catalyst. There we go. So, kind of news we already knew, but just to validate it, Landstar says, hey, we're going to up guidance 8 to 11% for the quarter. Love that. I love me some of that. Next story we're going to talk about here, used trucks. The price peak used truck prices persist as Class 8 production lags. It says, as manufacturers struggle to build new Class 8 trucks, used channels are starving. Yeah, so the typical used truck market works like this. Big carrier buys new trucks, and this isn't every case. I get it. I know every case is different, but this is the majority of how used trucks end up on the market. Big carrier buys a bunch of trucks. They sign a deal with the dealership they bought them from, saying, hey, we're going to use these trucks for 24, 30, 36 months, whatever, and then we're going to sell them back to you for X amount of dollars. That's typically how it works, and then that used trucks ends up on a dealership. A lot of the dealers, they'll wholesale them off to Arrow Truck Sales, Lone Mountain, but they'll put a lot on their lot as well. And then, there's a lot of secondary trucking companies out here. And when I say secondary, I mean size-wise, that'll buy straight from the mega carriers as well. If you've got a fleet of, say, 500 trucks, you're replacing, 20% of those a year. You need 100 trucks a year. You might just go over to, some mega carrier and say, hey, I like how y'all guys set up your trucks, blah, blah, blah. We'll give you X amount for 100 of those trucks every year. That's how the used truck market works. Here's the hiccup we're dealing with right now. If there's no new trucks coming into the market, what do the mega carriers do? They're forced to hold their trucks. They're not just turning trucks in like they used to. I see a lot of these trucks on the road that I'm like, because what was it? Freightliner switched the front end style in like 2018, 2019-ish. I'm still seeing big carriers running the older style Cascadia, and that makes me wonder if they're just not able to trade those in right now, the 2017s and 2018s. Kind of makes me wonder a little bit, what's really going on there. But let me read a little bit of the story to you. It says, used truck prices are running 31% ahead through July compared to the first 7 months a year ago, as new truck production lags and fleets are holding onto equipment longer, starving auctions and dealerships. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. Skyrocketing prices could continue 2022 as manufacturers struggle to turn out finished new trucks while navigating parts and component shortages led by the shortage of critical microchips that control a range of functions, including safety systems. The shortage is leading fleets to hold on to trucks they might otherwise have sent to auction or sold to retail used truck outlets. That in turn driving higher prices, although they fell 3% in July compared to June and 19% year over year because so few low mileage used trucks were being available. So the average used truck price is actually coming down because the trucks that are getting sold have higher mileage. That's crazy. It says the average price was 45% higher last month than of July 2020. Wow. A 45% markup on used trucks year over year. I knew it was crazy. I didn't know it was this bad. I was looking at some glider kits the other day I'm talking million-mile glider kits selling for $80,000. I get it. The thing's got to rebuild 200,000 miles ago on the engine, but that's not the whole truck. There's still some very expensive components on that truck that need to be replaced. But people paying it because it's just the rates out here right now. Class 8 auction and retail pricing once again set records in July. Chris Vassar, senior analyst and commercial vehicle production manager for JD Power Valuation Services. Whoa, what a job title that boy's got. He told FreightWaves the ongoing shortage of new truck means users are hungry for late model trucks as a substitute for new, and are also holding on to their iron longer. Oh, he knows the industry slang. He calls it iron. I know a guy that works for a pretty decent sized fleet, like a 500-600 truck fleet. They have never bought used trucks. Well, when I say never, since they got that big, probably in the last 5 years, they've never bought a used truck. They get the pricing. They go in there and buy 50 new ones at a time, There's not 50 new ones to buy right now, and they've got some trucks that are just, falling apart as far as not old, but, just sometimes you get a bad truck and you can't keep it on the road. They're buying used trucks now. A fleet that probably hasn't bought a used truck in a decade or close to it is out here buying used trucks. So we all know the struggles of that right now. If you're looking for equipment, good luck. Another story for you here about trailers. Trailer orders tank in July as manufacturers struggle to find workers. Wabash National doing better than most in hiring, but environment is tough, CEO says. A lack of workers, supply chain disruptions, and the effective end of the order cycle combined to push trailer orders down 58% year over year. Manufacturers would have built more equipment to meet strong demand if the supply chain would have been more robust. Wabash National Corporate President and CEO Brent Yegi told FreightWaves, we have generally met our ramp targets for 2021, he said, but we could have possibly exceeded them on the demand we had. Suppliers own issues attracting workers coupled with shortages, imported parts, components, making building to order difficult, said Don Ake, Vice President of Commercial Vehicles at FTR Transportation. Bottleneck results in order deficits. Yeah. So it's not that they can't make the trailers. It's, number one, they can't find the workers to build the trailers, and the parts at the suppliers, they can't get the parts because there's no workers working at the suppliers. And then when they do get the parts into their warehouse, they can't build the trailers because they can't find workers. And I don't see this problem getting any better anytime soon because of one thing: inflation. Inflation is basically theft by the Federal Reserve and our government. Is basically what it is. Over time, things should get cheaper or stay the same because we've refined the process, not continually go up, percentages every year. So that's where we're at right now with that. But yeah, they could have sold more trailers than they did. They kind of said they met their numbers, but they kind of missed out on money because they couldn't find workers. So yeah, if we don't start paying more, nobody's going to go to work. I know the unemployment benefits and this, that, and the other a little off. I understand that, but the fact of the matter is, when you've got CEOs of companies making $5 million and the guy working down on the floor busting his ass to get there and do a good job every day is making, $15 to $20 an hour, things just aren't right in the world. They're just not right in the world. And I'm not saying, CEOs should make this, CEOs should make that. I'm not about, but for me personally, I think it's an ethical issue when one guy at the company makes $50 million and he runs the company based on the stock price because that's how he gets paid, versus doing what's right for the company and long-term thinking, not what's my quarterly bonus going to be. Instead of doing the right thing for the company long-term, To me, that's an issue. That is an issue. That's just how I stand on it. You know, like I think of it like this. It's kind of like, to me, wages are kind of like the Civil War. You know, the rich people got everybody all worked up and sent them to war over slavery. Slavery didn't affect most of the people down there fighting the war. Let's be honest about it. You know, the slavery was affecting the people that were funding the war, and that's kind of what we're getting right now. You know, and I don't know. I don't think they should necessarily set a cap on what a CEO can make, but I'd have a hard time working for a company where the CEO made, 1,000 times more than I did. It's just like, where's the just in that, But anyway, guys, I'm out of here. This has been Trucker News. If you made it this far, give it a like. Think about subscribing. We talk all things trucking here. Got a second channel called Trucking Diabetes. We talk everything trucking and health over there. Come join me over there and check that channel out. Check out Mudflap if you buy your own fuel. And also, I got a merch tent. All that's down there in the description. Go down there. A bunch of links to everything. Twitter, TikTok. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay classy, trucker.